my name is Valerie Carter and you're watching Dear America with Love. Today's post is going to be a little different than what I normally do. I am very known for making my Avgolemono, which is a Greek soup that stands for chicken lemon rice soup. So anytime anyone's come down with cancer, or they're really sick, or they have a baby, or COVID, I make this soup for people. And everyone's always asking me for the recipe. Then I kind of chuckle and I say, well, I don't actually have measurements because I have been making this soup for so long. I have no clue how to write it out. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the ingredients, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. One of the most important parts is tempering your eggs, and that's the fun part. So, okay, so what I usually get is I get a Costco chicken, already pre-cooked. It's only like, what, $5? It saves me a whole lot of time. And then Aborio Rice, I always get that. Not jasmine, Aborio Rice. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And then tons and tons of chicken stock. I usually do about 7 to 8 quarts of chicken stock. Of course, you're gonna need pepper, lemon peel, parsley, and I like dried parsley for this dish. I do not like fresh parsley. Maybe start off with 4 eggs. And then I have extra bowls, and you'll see why. I have my egg separator, olive oil, and a whole lemon. And those are the only ingredients that you need. I very rarely put salt in this dish, only because the chicken stock already is salted for you, so you don't really need it. You know, if you really like things salty, then you can add your own salt, but I don't usually add salt. So what I'm going to actually start with first is separating my eggs. And the reason is because I want it to come down to room temperature before I start tempering it. And so I'm just going to separate my eggs. And wow, I'm gonna take some of that out. Yeah, and what you can do is you can take your shell and just kind of help scoop it out. And we don't want the egg white in the soup, because then it just scrambles. So I always do my eggs first so that we can bring it down to room temperature, and then I put it in a separate bowl. We're going to use this bowl throughout our cooking process. Okay, I forgot almost the most important ingredient to this whole soup: lemons. Tons and tons of lemons. I tend to do about 8 to 9 lemons for my soup. A lot of recipe calls for like 2 for a small pot and 4 for a large pot. No, 8 to 9 lemons. And it all depends on how fresh your lemons are, how much lemon juice is in them. I often tend to smell them and see, you know, with that smell, I could tell if the citrus, if I'm needing more lemons or less lemons. I think the best lemon are Meyer's sweet lemons. Those are by far the best lemons, but I get all of my lemons from my neighbors and my friends. I don't really even buy lemons, because why, when they have it? Okay, so the next thing I do is I take my Costco chicken, and I use gloves only because I absolutely hate getting chicken under my fingernails. And I just pull apart the chicken, and I don't keep the skin. It goes bye-bye. We don't keep it. So I'm just gonna pull the chicken apart. And then you'll mix it at the end. Now I've pulled all the chicken apart from the Costco chicken, and the best time to pull it apart is actually when it's still warm. And you want to make sure that you pull it apart to just small bite-sized pieces, because big giant chunks is, you know, hot and not fun to try to cut up in soup. So just make sure it is small bite-sized pieces, and make sure you have no bones in it. And I just take the chicken and I kind of mix it together where the light and the dark is. And then I tend to take the skin. You're gonna think this is funny, but we take the skin and maybe something like the little wing or whatever, and throw it in the air fryer for later. Super yummy. We love to eat it that way. Okay, so next we're gonna chop a whole onion, into very small pieces. Maybe Jordan can do a close-up of how small to cut the onion. And I'm not the greatest onion cutter, but nice bite-sized pieces. One of the secrets to cutting onion apparently is keeping your finger on the knife the whole time. My cousin Trisha taught me that one. She's an excellent cook and everybody loves it when she comes over and visits and then cooks for us. Okay, so next I'm gonna put my olive oil in the pan. I do about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and then I go ahead and heat it up. My burner's 1 to 10 and I usually put it on about a 5 and I let it slowly on a medium heat up, and then I'll add my onion into here. And while I'm waiting on my onion or my oil to heat up, here's where you're gonna think I'm funny. I don't measure my rice. It's probably about a cup and a half. It's about a cup and a half to about 7 to 8 quarts of chicken stock. So yeah, a cup and a half to a cup and 3/4. If someone like maybe has cancer, I actually do a little bit more rice, 2 cups or so, and I make it much thicker because they need the calories when they're eating. But in general, when it's just normal soup, about a cup and a half. And while this is heating up, I'm gonna rinse my rice. So I'm done rinsing my rice. I do about 4 rinses because you want to rinse the starch out. If you don't rinse the starch out, then it pretty much gets really starchy and soaks it all up and you have less liquid in your soup. So make sure it's about 4 rinses. Next, I'm gonna take my onion and I'm gonna toss it into my pot now that it's hot. And I'm just gonna saute it until it's translucent. So about 1-2 minutes on, and then I usually turn it down to about a 3. So a little bit lower of a heat, let it saute. Here I've done sauteing my onion, and this is actually when I throw in my pepper. It's to taste. You can add some in later, but I notice that when I throw it in while it's sauteing, it doesn't rise to the top. So it cooks more evenly, and it's probably about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. I like it peppery, but we will see. Again, if I add more. So now I'm gonna slightly turn it back up a little bit. Now that my onions are pretty much done being almost translucent, I'm actually now gonna add my rice. Now, it's a Hispanic thing, I think, a Latina thing, Puerto Rican thing, to saute your rice. The Greeks do not saute their rice, but I really like my rice sauteed a little bit with the onion so it infuses that flavor. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw my rice in. And I turned up my heat a little bit. And I would turn it up to like maybe an 8 and let that cook off for about a minute. And of course, you want to make sure that you're constantly stirring it so that the rice doesn't burn and stick to the bottom when you're sauteing your rice. You don't have to saute your rice. I just, again, like the fusing of the onion, the rice, and the pepper. So next what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and just add all my quarts of chicken stock. And I'm going to bring my heat up to as high as possible so that it can start coming to a boil. This is actually one of the easiest soups in the world to make. I think the only hard part about avgolemono is the tempering of the eggs. Once you get that down, you're good to go. Okay, so by looking at my pot, I realized I actually need 8 quarts of chicken stock. So 8 quarts of chicken stock to about a cup and a half to a cup and 3/4 of the rice. I'm gonna let this come up to a boil. And what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna start tempering my eggs. Like I said, once you get this down, you got the soup down. So, you know, I have 8 quarts in here. It's been on for maybe about a minute, so it's not really hot yet. So I'm gonna whisk my egg yolk. Just whisk it all the way. This is 8 quarts of liquid chicken stock and onion and rice. I'm now gonna be switching from the spoon to the ladle And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a good stir and I'm gonna bring it up to a boil. But as my chicken stock gets hot, I wanna start putting my warm chicken stock into my eggs. So right now it's at room temperature. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of room temperature chicken stock, and you have to basically skim it so you're not getting onion into it because you want your onion to cook. And so I just put about a ladle into my egg yolk. And then I'm gonna, in about 2 or 3 minutes, I'm gonna grab some more. As this is heating up, now I'm gonna start adding my lemon juice. I just take my lemon and I squeeze it down, cut it in half. I tend to give it a smell, make sure it's not bad, and it's not. And I'm just gonna squeeze the lemon juice. I believe that the acid from the lemon actually helps to cook the egg yolk as well. But don't quote me on that one. And a lot of times when you smell it, you can smell if it's a sweet lemon or if it's gonna be more sour, which, you know, determines on how much more salt and pepper you put into your soup, because it's all by taste. So I just did 2 lemons. I'm just gonna skim some more. I'm gonna give it my chicken stock, rice, and onion stir, skim some. And we don't want to put boiling liquid into our egg because that's what's going to scramble the egg. We don't want scrambled eggs in our soup. So in about a minute, I'll add warmer chicken stock. So I'm going to start with 7 lemons, and 7 is usually my minimum. I think 10 or 11 have been my max. So I have a thing for lemon. You can help it come up to a faster boil by putting a lid on it, but what you're gonna want to do is really keep an eye out on it coming up on a higher temperature, because you want to put your hot heat liquid inside your egg bowl without scrambling it. So I'll probably put it on for like 30 seconds to a minute, add some more hot liquid into my bowl, and what will happen is I'm actually gonna bring my liquid all the way up to a full quart. So I'll be transferring a full quart of hot chicken stock to my bowl, and then at the end, we'll put it back in. Every once in a while, I will go ahead and give my egg and chicken stock a very gentle stir. Again, we're not trying to scramble them, so we want to make sure that we just do it really slowly. And then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna simmer the rice. So I have it on about a 2, where the liquid is still boiling just a little bit, but not an insane amount. Just a little bit, because for the next 20 minutes, we're gonna let it cook the rice. So I'm gonna put a 20-minute timer on, and after 20 minutes, we'll just now go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. So, and maybe Jordan can show you what kind of boil this should be at for the next 20 minutes. Okay, so now our rice is fully cooked. Let me just show you. Rice is fully cooked. And now I'm gonna put in the egg, the chicken stock, and the lemon back into the soup. And it's okay, I have it on about 4 or 5. It's on a medium heat, and it's okay for it to just be rumbling a little bit. I sit it on top for about 10 seconds. And then I just slowly release chicken stock into it, give it a slow stir, and repeat until all of the liquid is in my pot. And this, again, it helps the egg not to scramble, because we don't want scrambled eggs in our soup. My husband actually won't eat this soup because it has 4 egg yolks in it, even though you cannot taste egg in this soup. What the egg does, it gives it this rich, creamy taste is what the egg is doing. And it also gives it that rich lemony color to the soup. Okay, so I've transferred all of the egg, lemon, and chicken stock back into the pot. Now I'm gonna actually turn and put in the chicken. And once all the chicken is in, I'm actually gonna bring it back up to a boil for about 5 minutes to cook the egg all the way through. So now I'm gonna put my lemon peel in it. I like dried lemon peel over fresh lemon peel. It's a little bit more bitter when you use actually fresh rind. So I don't measure. Again, everything is up to taste. I don't know what that is. That's like a teaspoon and a half. And we'll start with that and give it a little bit of a taste to see if I need to add more. Okay, so now I'm gonna ladle it up. A lot of times in Greek restaurants, they put at the table maybe those saltine crackers because we are gluten-free. My daughter has celiac disease. Everything that we eat is gluten-free. They actually have table crackers that are saltine, but we don't eat it with that. It just doesn't need any of that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and ladle it up. And it's got lots of chicken in it. It has lots of rice in it. Put a little bit more. Oh my goodness. This is my favorite. And when I'm actually gonna taste it, I'm gonna go, oh my God, so good. I really, really mean that. And of course, I'll probably eat like 3 bowls in the next 20 minutes. So now when you pull it up, you're gonna get heartiness to your soup. You're gonna get lots of chicken because you put a whole chicken in there. You're gonna get lots of rice. You're gonna get both the dark meat and the light meat. So. I'm a happy girl today. Well, although that this video isn't about what I normally put out there, God is the creator of really good food. And I'm quite sure that I'm gonna be making this in heaven one day. So I'm a very happy girl. I know what I'm eating for lunch and dinner and breakfast and lunch and dinner for the next few days. Tell me how your soup came out. I would love to hear. Put it in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I would love to hear how it turned out for you. This is by far my most favorite meal to eat in everything I've ever eaten. So I hope you enjoy. You have a blessed day.